Yes.
Good afternoon, on and all. Yeah. Can you make my screen full? Siddharth, is possible?
Yes.
It, yeah. Yeah, yours is coming. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, one and all. On behalf of entire Life Science family, Christ Deemed to be University Bangalore, I cordially welcome you on the second day of the international webinar on applied biosciences. I extend my warm welcome to our guest speaker, Dr. SUDHAKAR MUNIYASAMY. Welcome, sir. We have an announcement. Please note, today during the seminar, we'll be providing you the feedback link that you have to fill with yesterday's passcode. Please also note, feedback form or the link will not be sent through any email ID, and please don't send a mail to us also, since the mailboxes will be unmonitored. Thank you for your cooperation. Now I request Dr. Siddharth to kindly introduce Dr. SUDHAKAR. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anish. I am Dr. Siddharthan, Associate Professor in the Department of Life Sciences, Christ University. We have Dr. Manikandan. Dr. Manikandan?
Yes, I'm a Dr. Manikandan, Assistant Professor, Department of Life Sciences at Christ University. Thank you, Sidhu.
Yeah. We have our speaker, Dr. Sudhakar Muniyasamy. I have great pleasure in introducing Dr. Sudhakar Muniyasamy as a guest speaker today. Dr. Sudhakar Muniyasamy is a senior research scientist at CSIR Chemical Cluster in South Africa. Prior to his current position, he was working as a postdoc in the University of Gulf, Canada. He holds a PhD in chemical science from the University of Pisa in Italy. He has master's degrees in biological sciences from the University of Madras and Madurai Kamaraj University from India. His expertise is more than 15 years in the field of bioplastics and biodegradable plastics, and from renewable sources, and he designs and processes modifications of plastics for various applications such as automotives, biomedical engineering, packaging, etc. His specialty is in the area of environmental claims and also certifications for bio-based products. He has published a lot of book chapters. He has about 23 research articles, and he has presented in several international and national seminars. Apart from that, he has several awards. Even recently, he has obtained the Best Contract Award for the business development for CSIR in the year 2021. And in 2018, he has received the CSIR CEO Award for the Project Synapse Bioplastics. He has also received the Enviropedia Ecologic Innovation Award. He was awarded the Best Research Display for Industrial Sector, Bio New Industrial Products, University of Gulf, Canada. He is also recipient of the prestigious International Galileo Galilei Fellowship for top 3 young researchers in chemical science at the University of Pisa. With this introduction, I pass on the podium to Sudhakar for his talk on bioplastics.
Thank you, Siddharth. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sudhakar Muniyasamy. I'm a senior researcher in the CSIR South Africa. I'm leading the CSIR Bioplastic project as a technical leader. So today my presentation is going to about. Actually, I would like to thank mainly Siddharth and Chris for the kind invitation for me to give a talk on that. Is a really pressure and give a share about what's the CSR about, what kind of research we are doing in terms of bioplastic and everything. So it's a very pleasure to share our research R&D work on that. So my presentation is going to about it's a bioplastic from renewable resource. That means that you're taking plastic material from the plant sources instead of oil and coal. So that you're taking But the advantage of this plastic is environmental friendly. That you are taking from the plant is annually renewable plant sources. Instead of the petroleum source is a non-renewable. So you are depleting the natural resources. So, but the advantages are also it is give a something like an environmental friendly material, because you know that the plastic, conventional plastics are non-biodegradable. It takes many decades to degrade and creating a plastic source. That's the way that we are developing a bioplastic from the plant sources. So before I go to the in-depth presentation, let me explain what is CSIR South Africa. So the in South Africa, we have a 59 million people, and we have a CSR in many cities. The head office is placed in Pretoria. Then we have regional offices in Johannesburg, Durban, Cape Town, and Stellenbosch as well. So the each city's CSR it has a unique characteristic. They have a unique R&D platform where it is necessary laboratory testing, and we have a unit. So that is we work. So we have a total of staffs like more than 2,300 people staffs. We have it, and most of them is more than 1,600 people of S&T based, so science and engineering background people. And every year we produce close to more than 300 PhDs we created, and we produce more than 500 publication every year. And every year we produce like 22 new patents and more than 50 new technology demonstration that is relevant to industry that we are generating. And also we operate with like 2.5 billion value of South African rand that we operate the function. And also we actually from the transfer the technology from the CSIR, and we get a royalty and a licensing of 5.42 million rand that we get every year. And also we investing rand, South African rand 126 million investment to human capital development, the young researcher to give a job and learn the techniques and everything. So we lost a lot on the human capital development as well. So the CSIR mandatory is particularly we conduct multidisciplinary research activities, particularly the technology innovation, with the collaborating with the industry, private sector, and public sector to improve the quality of the South African people. So that's the way we CSR mandate. We work on that. So as a CSIR, we are accelerator of the socio-economic perspective in South Africa through the leading innovative research. So we do the collaboration innovative research specifically localizing the technology, and we provide a knowledge-based technology and to make a sustainable advancement in industry and society. So that is our vision and mission of that CSIR. So basically the CSIR, we have a 6 cluster units. We divided as a 6 cluster unit. The advanced agriculture food that I have units. So that units mainly concentrate in the agriculture processing, agriculture production sector mainly aspect. And we have also future production chemicals. I belong to that unit. So here we mostly concentrated on biochemical, bioprocessing, advanced nanotechnology, polymer processing. So all the aspects that we do here in chemicals. And also we have a next generation class mostly on the molecular level, kind of molecular biology level work. And we also have a manufacturing mainly on the engineering aspect, on the titanium aspect, all the relevant to industry. So that is a manufacturing side we have it. And also we have a support also mining. And also we have a unit defense and security. So we also specialized security basis that we directly work with the government, Department of Home Affairs, and the banking system to make sure that the security is all in place. And also we have a smart place mainly that using the natural resources, particularly the life cycle assessment. How if we develop something technology, whether it's a sustainable aspect and how the socio-economic and the economic impact is creating. So those aspects that you also we work on the smart places. and smart mobility, mainly in the if you develop the business, how the logistic, if some technology that has been transferred to specific countries or some places, so how the logistic and everything, making arrangement and making the smoothing business. So that aspect, the smart mobility kind of taking. And also we have a next generation enterprises. So when you technology, when you're working with the industrial partner and the CSIR R&D, something like that. So if you want to set up the facility or a new company or new industry and everything, so we can develop the techno-economic feasibility and whether the business is viable or not. So all the from setting up and everything, arranging the funding, from talking with the government, everything. So those aspects that helps the enterprise institution as well. So the CSR, we work with the public and private sectors and various institutes to work from the basic R&D to the commercialization stage. And we have an international collaboration from globally. We have ASEAN countries, we have collaboration with China, India, Pakistan, and South Korea. Also, we are working, and also we are working with the BRICS countries as well. And also we have mostly in African countries we have collaborated, and European also. So we have globally, we have established based on the research R&D, we are collaborating all over the countries. So the operating model of the CSR is, so the management, the CSR overall, the management is headed by the CEO, Chief Operating Officer, Executive Officer. So he directly report to the CSR board. So that is comprised of the South African government research and R&D based directly report that. And we under CEO, there's group executives for each units, like how I mentioned, each mining, chemical. So they have the executive managers. So each manager, they report to what is happening in each unit, the impact area, that is what is happening. They report to CEO. The under there, there's cluster. Each group there is a cluster manager, like impact area. So they report to the managers. And under each impact area, there will be research group leaders. So if you are saying that chemical cluster, there is that I'm working on bioplastic, that I will have a research group leader and manager. So I have to report that way. So each group division, they will have a impact area manager, so that they can see what's the project of this going and where to improve, where is the manpower pulling, every aspect that we work on that. So that's the way the CSR organization works. So from our perspective, on the chemical perspective, we have 5 impact area that is called Center for Nano-structured and Advanced Material. That is belongs to that one. So that is mainly working on the nanomaterials and advanced like bio-based material. So those aspects that we work in the advanced composite. So those aspects we work on the nanostructured advanced materials. And another, we have a metal extraction and conversion also that work on it, and also biomanufacturing. So the biomanufacturing group, that is mainly the fermentation aspect, biotechnology. So those microbiological and that mostly on the biology aspect, they work on the biomanufacturing. And also we have a group like a bio and a biochemical conversion group. So that means that you are taking the resource from the plant or agriculture feedstock, something that extract the value chemicals that's converted into biochemicals like lactic acid, chachinic acid. Some of the various applications is pharmaceuticals and even bioplastic applications. So many as for the value chemicals that we are working on it. So that's called the biochemical. There also have a pharma technology. There's molecular kind of work they concentrate. So we have a world-class characterization facility. So that we do conduct the research in collaboration with the national, international university and the private public sector through the funding. So that we get it from industrial funding as well as the government parliament grant funding. We operate that way, all the R&D projects. So from that, we will do have the world-class R&D facility, like a characterization facility. So we'll do all the R&D facility. Then once the R&D level is completed, that we call like a technology readiness level. That means so once the basic R&D, the fundamental R&D is completed, then we have facility like a scale-up facility. So that when you do R&D, it you usually work in grams or per ml, something very small quantity. When you come into the scale-up, that is we have pilot scale facility that you operate that like more than 1,000 capacity. That is it's similar to industry. So that before go to the industry, so the pilot scale facility, so whatever you develop the technology, that we will demonstrate in the pilot scale facility. So from that, then you can have as the CSR also work with the South African Private certificate. So if you are climbing some technology that you developed a new technology, that also we work together and everything. Then we do all the economic feasibility. So that's the way the industry we directly work with the industrial aspect, like a very big industry like a PSF, software fall, and Sasol. There are very big universities, so they will work together. Then we transfer to the industry. So that's the way the CSR, the chemical cluster is working. So anytime if there's some private institute or public institute or anything, they want to involve the activities, they can they can also involve in the R&D stage as well as they also they can take into the scale-up facility, and also when it's technology ready, so they also put investment on the manufacturing side also. So all aspects that we do the involvement aspect. So now I'll go to my presentation. So my presentation, I will give how to develop the bioplastic from the renewable resources, and give alternatives to the conventional non-biodegradable plastic. So my presentation contains the following outlines. So I will give a well plastic production. How is the production of the well plastic? What's the consumption? What's its demands? What's the environmental related issue? So once you use it, so what's the environmental impact is on the current conventional well plastic is going. So then I will give a outline how to develop the sustainable green bioplastic and the composite material from renewable resources. So the opportunities and the challenges in the next generation of materials and the process and the products. And the objective that you tell that you're developing value-added bio-based polymers, something like the creating value. So you're taking some material that you're creating more value, that innovative way from the material. So the main concern of my R&D is mainly on synthesis and preparation of biopolymers from renewable resources, and development of bioplastic and biodegradable products, and biodegradable testing of the how the material it behaves and whether it's solving the environmental issue and everything, and the key outcomes and its potential impact. So, so if you look at the bio production plastics, you can clearly see that plastic production steadily increasing. If you look at the 1950s, that was only 1.5 million tons per annum. But if you look at the 1977, that is produced 50 million tons. That is really is advanced. So after that, is steadily increasing. Now currently more than 335 million tons every year that the conventional plastics are producing. So what it means is actually showing that the plastics is very important material. Is replaced many aspects like previously, because that is the 1977 is the areas the most invents of the plastic, like how polyethylene invented, polypropylene invented. That's the reason it changed a lot. It replaced many metals, glass, and all the aspects, because of the plastics that have a unique properties like low cost material and easily producible, and low handling, and it has a very good printability, transparency. So many aspects, the advantage and durability mainly. So those aspects, the lightweight, so many aspects, that is it has a good advantage of the plastic. It has replaced many like metals and all aluminum aspect and everything. So that is the advantage. But when you coming to the application wise, how the plastics are being used. So if you look at that, most of the plastics, like 50 to 55%, mainly in the non-durable items. That means the packaging, and you are using for the agriculture areas, the mulch film, and all aspect, and also and medical application, all aspect. There are is being only used. Is called non-durable. So the food wrapping and so many aspects that just using once. If you look at if you look at for if you go to the any supermarket, what you can see, the advantage of, say, if you go to the if you buy the any vegetables, you always prefer that the packaging is very important, crucial role, that you feel. So even during this pandemic situation, you always prefer the hygienic products, that you want to be safe. So if you don't have packaging, if someone touched it, so you don't prefer it, you want something packaging material. So that's the way that plastic is helping, mainly the meat packaging. So the meat packaging, particularly the bonnet and the wrapping, and also there's going to be a sponge that absorb the juice of the meat. So all the aspect that also the packaging is playing a major role. And also particularly the fruits wrapping. For example, if you without packaging, the fruits and the vegetables contaminate quickly. And also if you have a packaging, it helps the duration of the preservation, everything. So all the aspect that the packaging is playing a major role. But you always concentrate what is the food and everything, but you never consider about, once you use the meat or the vegetables and everything, what's going to be the packaging. So that is, you're just using, and you always use and dispose it, because of the wrapping and everything. So what is happening is, this is happening. So the single-use plastic finally ending to the land or marine water and everything. So these plastics are conventional plastics. It's a petroleum-based one. So it takes many decades to degrade. So globally, it's more than 8 million tons single-use of plastics are dumped into the ocean, which is causing severe environmental impact to the marine and terrestrial habitat. So the plastics are very cheap to produce, but very, very expensive to clean the environment. Also, recently one of the articles, they say that by 2050, there's going to be more plastic in ocean than fish. That means we will eat the plastic, not the fish. So if we are not taken many action, that the future generation will suffer on that. So if you look at the mismanaged the plastic waste in the globally, so one of the dark brown area. So most of the material, like China and other countries, like they're leaching the plastic to the environment, like in marine environment. So more than 5 million tons per annum they are leaching. Like that. And light brown area, like in Indonesia, Malaysia, and other countries like that, they're leaching to the environment like 1 to 5 million tons per year. And also like the orange colors, like India, North America, South America, some of the European countries, African countries, they are also closely remaining like 250,000 to 1 million tons they're leaching into the environment. So the plastic is when leaching to the marine environment, it's not considered that plastics belongs to India, it belongs to China. So it's severely affected. Is going to be it's going to be distributed, and is going to create a very big issue on the global environment, and is severely affecting that. So if you look at the countries, top 15 countries, India is one of the top polluted countries in the world. And also South Africa, also one of the top 12 countries in the world, they are contributing the plastic. So there is a crisis. They want to find out the solution. They are looking for the eco-friendly material to address that issue. So if you look at the plastic, why it's not being it's not being recycled or reused, why is entering to the plastic? For example, see, if the reason is for example, the plastics also can be made for a durable application, like your chair and your building areas. That plastic also can be used. It's called durable materials, so it gives a long-term durability. And also the plastic has been used for like carrier bag and straw and food wrapping. This is called a single-use item, only once used and it dispersed to the environment. um, but it's what happens is when the single use is very small material, it's very difficult to recycle. You need a large quantity to recycle and everything. So you have, because imagine it, if you want to recycle the material, you have to collect so many plastic bags, thin film and everything. You have to collect from the environment, and you have to clean it, and you have to wash it, and you have to reprocess it. And when you reprocess it, the price of the recycled plastic is more expensive than the virgin plastic that you are buying from the petroleum base. So that is the main reason the recycling is not happening in many countries. And now the countries are, banning with many countries. The plastics is banning. And also the plastic also can be, recover some value energy. Like from the plastic, you can bring back to the oil back. It can be done. But the issue is when you burning the thermal recovery of that material, it can produce a lot of toxic chemicals to the environment. That is very, very dangerous than the landfilling of the plastic. So that is also is not environmentally friendly. The environmentally friendly manner is that you have plastic, it has to degrade biologically. That means the bacteria, fungi, the living in the natural environment, that takes the organic carbon material and consumes and give a end product like a CO2, methane, biogas, and water. That's this called is a natural process. It's called, when we imagine you have a banana that eats when is degrading, is like a biodegradation, something happening, decaying. So it gives then the CO2 is coming, that's called forms like a photosynthesis. So this is called natural photosynthesis process, natural process. That's the way that the chemicals are is giving. So that way we need to develop that material that is called environmental friendly, that should have a retained properties like a conventional plastic. At the same time, when you expose to the environment, like after end of life, that you put into the any environment like soil or compost, even it went to the water, it has to degrade. And by the action of the microorganism, bacteria and fungi, that release the enzymes that break into smaller compounds, that finally it gives like a CO2 finally. That is the way it's called as the environmentally friendly material. So how it works means, so it's called like a bioplastic. So you are taking the valuable chemicals from the plant. So the plant, it has a plant, any biological, it has a unique like a lignocellulosic. So you have a cellulose, hemicellulose, and a lignin. So these are the compound of each agrobiomass and everything. So you can extract the value chemicals like a starch and all hemicellulose, and they can process it into various biopolymers like biochemicals and bioglycolic ethanic acid, lactic acid, fermentation process, and so many protein. So everything, then you can starch, cellulose, you can extract it and you can process it and you can make a bioplastic. That from there, then you can use it. It can even, it's not necessarily, you can develop it for durable application as well as single use application. But after the advantages, it can also be reused and you can put it to the end of life. Any environment like that, it can quickly degrade through the photosynthesis. This is called is a closed loop cycle. So the conventional plastic is not a linear cycle, but this one is called closed loop, is a sustainable. So you're taking the renewable, the plants are renewable, always renewable material. So you can use all the materials and you can develop. That's the advantage, everything. So through this process, the raw material is not hazardous. It can decrease the greenhouse emission because it comes from the plant sources. So there is no, you're not utilizing any oil and every oil byproducts and everything. So it's renewable and it can reduce, and also it gives you opportunity. the eco-friendly manner to handle the waste as well. And also it can, because it also helps the social effects. For example, if you are, for example, you have agriculture waste material, any agriculture waste or food waste, something that there are waste material, that from that they're creating a value. That means it helps some value. Agriculture people are already, that is declining in many countries, like in South Africa as well as in India as well. So they give a value. So the people of the agriculture waste, they will get some premium. So that is going, then from that can going to be any industry will create. There is a job creation will create from the waste material. So new industry will create. So more opportunity will create from the research aspect, also from the manufacturing aspect, as well as the farmer aspect. So many people will get job in this. So there's an improvement in the social effort. And also ultimately, when the new platform and new company, new industry, when it's coming from the new innovative products, this ultimately the country, the economy will reflect. It's called a bioeconomy. So it can create a rural development, and also and also is because you see that petroleum prices are increasing. So it can give when it's coming. So we will use a decrease in consumption of the plastic material from the conventional plastic. So that means we can give a competitive price. The price will be reduced. The petroleum prices also will reduce. So it can give and also we can there is the company also becoming more greener company. So if any like that, instead of they can say that they are using environmental friendly material. So all the aspect, that is the way it works. So many countries, they have introducing the policy to move towards the greener material, and is the way is working specifically. So what are plastic? Any material, unlike a conventional material like that, that materials comes from the plant sources. That's called renewable resources. Anything from the fermentation process, or microbials also synthesis biopolymers. So algae, or from the plant, that a protein, starch, everything, something's coming from the renewables is called bioplastic. So that is giving as an alternative to the conventional. That's called as a bioplastic. Some things comes from the plant sources and the microbial sources. That is called renewable materials. It's called bioplastics. So for making the bioplastics, it's not necessarily you need to have a specific feedstock. Not necessary. It can be any feedstock. So agriculture-based material, you can take the material and you can extract the value of biochemicals and everything. Then you can develop a bioplastic. And also the forestry resources, like a plant lignocellulose forestry resource, also it can be utilized to develop a bioplastic. And also the organic waste, even your food waste. The lot of food waste, even you can extract the value chemicals and you can develop a bioplastic. The another advantage is this bioplastic, it can be also mechanically recyclable as like a conventional plastic. If you want to recycle as 10 times similar, it becomes similar behavior. You can recycle many times as you want. But the good thing is, after end of life, if you not recycled or reused it, if you end up with landfill or any environment, it's going to degrade. It's even if you can put in the close to like a composting. That's I think many countries, like European countries, they don't have a landfill. So what they do, that they collect the waste, your organic waste, together, that they put this biodegradable waste and everything, biodegradable plastic bag and everything. So they can put it together. They will process it, and it can degrade it similar like organic waste together with this. So after that, it forms like a fertilizer. It's an organic manure. So they can utilize as a fertilizer to the in the soil. So it enrich the soil quality, because the polymer carbon, the bioplastic carbon comes from the organic resources. So it helps to improve the soil quality of the fertile land. So that is the advantage of this one. So that's why the composting process also is many countries, the developed countries, are currently using it to use the biodegradable materials. So when you look at the global bioplastic production, mainly the dominant is Asia, because there is a lot of even the production case and everything, low manpower cost, and they have also facility-wise everything. So there's after the many countries, many investors that are putting investment mainly in us, mainly in if you look at the Thailand, they have a very big plan on PLA, polylactic acid, and also polypropylene churchnate. And there are many companies there, and also they have a European also, and a North American, South American. And what we found that there is no production in African country. So what we found in Africa, there we have a huge quantities of agriculture biomass. That's called agriculture where undervalued agriculture waste. There's a huge, but that we can utilize local material to develop a bioplastic. So that's the way my research activities focus. We have enough resources in South Africa, even Africa, but there's no bioplastic. Most of the technology is imported and everything. Why don't we utilize locally available biomass like a sugarcane bagasse, maize stalk residues, and starch, and so many cornstarch. There are. It's not even a sugarcane. Also, is the industry is declining. They also want to see utilize high value products. They want to increase. So what we are proposed that way, that we can utilize the locally available resources to develop bioplastic that you can utilize. So from various aspect feedstock. So that's the way our research innovators developed. So if you look at the global bioplastic market, in 2013, it was the bioplastic market was less than 1%. That is world is like a 3.7 billion value, but currently it took the 4% market share. Is like now the value of the bioplastic is the $21 billion value, and is steadily increasing, and expected by 2030 is going to be 324 billion value. Is going to take the 40% of the market by 2030. If you look at the growth rate of the bioplastic versus the petroleum-based plastic, petroleum-based is close to, I think, the percentage growth is only 3% growing. But in the case of bioplastic, is growing like a 30% annual growth rate. So there's a high demand on the bioplastic, and it is growing because of the many countries, they want to get rid of the conventional plastic. They want to go to the greener products that way. So if you look at the global products, what kind of application mainly many countries have interested? What kind of applications mainly is going? Mainly is going for the packaging application. So 60 to 70% of the overall bioplastic productions mainly is going for the packaging. The reason is the packaging only is the main culprit of the plastic pollution. That is, you are using the food wrapping and your carrier bag, and all containers, small takeaway containers, that is not being potentially recyclable. So that's the way the many countries, they want to use bioplastic as a for the products. So then mainly less than, and also there are countries are using for durable items, but the market is mainly in the packaging areas. So how can we extract, how to develop a bioplastic from the plant? So the plant, you can extract, as I said, cellulose, starch, and everything. These are the main vegetable oils that you can extract from the plant. Then you can convert it into another biochemicals. Then you can convert it into further pleasant. Then you can develop various bioplastic like green polyethylene, green polylactic acid. So many kind of bioplastic that you can develop, similar like conventional plastic. So that is the advantage is in the conventional plastic you have very limited plastic, but in the case of a bioplastic, you can develop. There is a lot of innovations coming every aspect. So there is a new technologies coming, new kind of biopolymers coming, and the new kind of even is using water soluble polymers. So many aspects that is getting potentially utilized for medical application, therapeutic application, and packaging application, and automotive application. So there are something like some of this new structural material building and automotive, and also a lot of application. The expanding, the application is expanding in the bioplastic areas. So when you talk about what is biodegradable and bioplastics, how can we differentiate? So when you talk about biodegradable, there are petroleum-based polymer also. It can be biodegradable, like polycaprolactam and also polypropylene adipic terephthalate, polyvinyl alcohol, and PBS, polypropylene churchinate. That also it can be synthesized chemical way. So that also petroleum, but still is biodegradable. But in the case of bio-based, like a polylactic acid, polyhydroxyribotrate, that is comes from the plants, so from microbial synthesis, PHPV, and bio-PPS, also from the plant chachinic acid, and also cellophane from cellulose, and thermoplastic starch. Then you can make a cell. So these are it's called bio-based, that you can develop. You can plant sources that you can develop. So this classified as a biodegradable. These are the material. Similarly, repulsion, that is from petroleum based, like as you know, that the polyethylene, polypropylene, polyvinyl, PET, polyethylene terephthalate, polyamide, all these are petroleum based. So this petroleum base is a non-biodegradable. It's a petroleum base. Also, similarly, you can develop a green polyethylene, biopolyethylene. Also, you can develop from the sugarcane and also polypropylene also. But the chemical structure, it will be the biopolyethylene. Also, the chemical structure is identical to the petroleum-based one. So it's going to be the same, and it still is a non-biodegradable. But it comes from the sugarcane or something like agriculture feedstock. So, but the advantage is here is you are taking the material from plant sources. Is you are, how to say, instead of petroleum oil, you are taking the plant renewable resources instead of the non-renewables. So that is advantage. But it can be used for it can be used for a durable application. Even if you buy the Coca-Cola bottle, you can see that there is a this Coca-Cola bottle is 30% bio-based. That means the renewable material, some of the material comes from the plant sources, but it still is recyclable. It's like identical to the conventional PET bottles, but is non-biodegradable still. So there are a lot of agriculture biomass that can be utilized. The natural fiber, like a jute fiber, flax fiber, different the countries. Many countries that have a very specific feedstock they can utilize. Even sugarcane agriculture byproduct, waste material, sugarcane byproduct like bagasse, maize stalk, and also from the biofuel industry, something lignin, paper industry byproducts, and glycerol and everything, vegetable oil byproduct that can be potentially utilized to make a pipeless. These are the raw material that you can create. So what is creating is, so you are taking the agriculture waste material or undervalued products, so that you are creating high valued added materials. That is, that you are creating more value into that product, and you are creating economic benefit, and also you're replacing the petroleum-based material, and you decrease the greenhouse emission. That is the advantage of utilizing the agriculture waste and the undervalued products. That is the way to develop it. For example, if you're taking food crops, that is, already many countries are suffering in the food. So instead of taking business, why don't you take the agriculture waste material to take the plastic? So that is creates more value to replace address the problem, as well as the creating new industry aspects. So what we are currently, the CSR is, I want to give an overview what's currently seeing. The CSR is currently looking various feedstock, like a paper waste and paper waste streams, and a biofuel like canola oil, sunflower oil, the byproducts. After oil extraction, the byproducts, you have a huge quantities, and also maize stock. After corn and maize and everything, the byproducts that we have that we can utilize, and also sugarcane waste streams. These are the undervalued everything. So we are taking the low value byproducts are agriculture waste, and we are sending to the biorefinery to extract the value chemicals that you can develop that you can utilize. Currently, the sugarcane bagasse, for example, they utilize for energy, for the electricity process. That is still low value. But what we are focusing in, we want to create from extracting the value, and we want to create high value, that we want to go for biochemicals and biomaterials. So that's the way we are focusing. So my research mainly on the high value applications, the biomaterial, polymer and a composite. That's creating that is my work. So we have a CSR Biorefinery Research Center that we're creating the biochemicals. Then from that we utilize the biochemicals and other ingredients into to develop the bioplastic and biodegradable products. So it's similar as I said, so we are using the agriculture waste material and we are extracting the value chemicals and we are formulating and to make a bioplastic. So when you develop a pipeline, we are keeping in mind that how to reuse it, how to recycle it, and also it has to meet the biodegradability. So when you design the material, we are always compelled like the design of the material, it has to go to the closed loop. So it should not create any environmental impact and everything. It should be sustainable aspect. So that's the way we do the R&D. So for just want to give over, for example, like a maize stock, waste and pipe product. So because we are taking the cellulose. From the cellulose, we are developing a nanocrystalline cellulose and fiber, nanocrystalline fiber and nanocrystalline cellulose. From that, so that is give you a very value that gives the cellulose is give a reinforcement to the nanomaterial range, is a superior quality for various application. That is we go. For example, similarly, that we do how we process like that. We use this different biopolymers and we use the different ingredients like a cellulose and everything ratio. Then we do the melt extrusion and we get the bioplastic pellets. From the bioplastic pellets, we do the characterization, how the properties and we do the thermochromatic analysis, differences. So each characteristic that will tell you your formulation, maybe that ratio, these ingredients that helps that it can go for automatic application, that it can go for packaging application, that can go for different applications. So that we do R&D and we change the formulation aspect and also we develop. Then from that we develop products. Just I want to show that when you're working for the packaging application, we know how to formulate the new material and ratio and everything, and we developed this something how to develop for rigid products like container cutleries, takeaway containers, bottles, and everything. So that we develop a new formulation. Similarly, for the carrier bag, foot wrapping and everything flexible, that's called flexible application, how to formulate that. So the technology what we developed, so each polymer, it has a unique characteristic that it has a melting temperature, class transition temperature, and the heat deflection tips. So that gives you the idea where you can utilize it. For example, like a polylactic acid. So the class transition temperature is something like 60 degrees Celsius. So that means when you temperature above 60 means the material becomes a glass. It will be brittle. So it cannot go for so many application. So, but it has a very good behavior and rigid. So we will choose based on the chemical characteristics and thermal rheological property where it can go, that application. So that's the way we developed it. And we have developed both the rigid application as well as the flexible film application as well. So that's the way we work. So we just to show us some schematic diagram. So you're utilizing the various natural polymer ingredients like a cellulose, starch, some vegetable oils, and we are putting the extruder. That's called milk extruder. We optimize the temperature and everything. Then you develop a bioplastic pellets. So that is a bioplastic pellets is a formatted. So it can go for so many applications. From that, you can, if you want a flexible application, you can use blown film. And if you want a rigid placement, you can send it to injection molding. So different way you can develop different products. So another one, the CSI developed the technology. What is advantages? So it has a very good properties, mechanical properties are similar like polyethylene and polypropylene. So these are the high dominant, 99% of the plastics is mainly for the polyolefins group. So we have the CSI developed technology. It has a very good comparable properties. Then comparable another worldwide technology. There is another very high quality developed technology. We developed it, and it can say we found that it can go for it can replace polyethylene and polyolefin family. And also that material, what we are using, you can use the normal conventional machineries. You not necessarily you have to design new machinery or not. You can use the existing machinery. So that is advantage. So most of we know that there are a lot of countries that are doing biopolymer research, but the thing is that material cannot be used in the conventional machineries. You need a special screw and so many changes and everything. But this material, what we developed it can use the normal conventional machineries. Already we have it demonstrated. So that also, and also what we found that some of the technology that previously they have some technology only degrading in industrial composting. That means you have to operate a specific environmental condition like a high humidity, high temperature to degrade that material. But what we developed that our technology, it can degrade in the normal environments. You can put it in a home compost, you can put it in industrial compost, you can put it in the soil, even you can put it in the marine water. It's 100% biodegradable that we tested. And also the ingredients, and also that our what we developed, that means 100% is mechanically recyclable. So you can recycle it, but you should not mix it with the plastic material. You should recycle separately. Like a bioplastic means you have to recycle separate. Like a polylactic means you have to separate polylactic alone. For example, in the normal petroleum based, they mix with polyethylene, high density polyethylene, low density polyethylene when you do the recycling. But here you should not mix any plastic. You should recycle bioplastic alone, that it can be 100% mechanically recyclable. And also all the ingredients we utilize is the renewable. There is no plastic into this. So it can go for so many application packaging. Wherever you feel that the technology, the bioplastic is going to help, definitely it's going to say films and packs and crates and agriculture mulch film. For example, agriculture mulch film means if you are harvesting the plant or everything, so you have to protect the sun and you have to maintain the humidity, all the you have to give a proper environment to the plant. And for the agriculture, many strawberry farms and so many nursery farms. But this one, it helps. The advantage is after the harvesting, this one plastic is a biodegradable plastic, so it can degrade in the soil itself. So it helps the organic manure to the soil. So in the case of polyethylene mulch film, if you use it after harvesting, you have to take it out and you have to take it, and it's very difficult to handling, and the recycling is a very expensive process. But this one, you can just use it and you can improve it and the environment. So it helps the soil environment and helps. That's the way the bioplastic is have a niche application. And also, once you develop the product, we have a bioregression testing facility that we are tested how long it takes to degrade, whether there is some international standard, American Testation ISO standard and European standard. If you are claiming that your material is biodegradable and compostable, it has to meet specific time frame, specific and everything. So we have tested that material is 100% biodegradable in the compost. You can see that how long to degrade, and also we tested it and in soil, that is a material is biodegradable in soil. And also we tested in marine water. So it degraded within 3 to 6 months. So it can degrade in any environment. And also what is actually, another challenge is you can't differentiate this is the bioplastic or conventional plastic. So what you have to do, you have to give a proper labeling. So we have to give a certificate on that material. So each countries or each continent, they have a unique certificate, ISO, ASTM, European certificate, so that the people have a logo that they can have, that they can identify that material is plant-based and it can degrade everything. So another what we challenge is found it, when you put it the plastic in different environments, which environment is degrade very faster and also which environment is slow. So we have done a wide variety of a lot of experiments on that, and we found that the composting is quickly degradable. And after that, there is a soil, it takes, and then the fresh water and marine water. So that is also we found that. So, and also we found the mechanism how the if you have a chemical structure hydroxyl group or oxygen something heterogeneous chain backbone, how to degrade and everything. So that also we found the mechanism how to degrade that material as well. So that we have published, I think our product is already in the media itself. You can, when you have time, you can look at some of the product that we developed it. These are published in the local newspaper as well as a lot of articles as well. So the potential impact of this project is creating a content localization. So we're utilizing the local material and we are creating like a new job creation and then and the local manufacturing sector. And also we are creating more value. So utilizing the agriculture waste from the various forestry, organic food waste and everything, and the agriculture biomass varies, and we are creating commercial expansion from the to give benefit to the agricultural field and farmers, and from that the industry we are creating. And also that helps, when you're creating the automatically, the agriculture field is getting more impact and creating a new revenue on the area. So from this research platform, we are contributing to reduce the environment plastic pollution, and we are decreasing the greenhouse emission that currently the worldwide is facing, and we're trying to bring the better waste management and much cleaner to the world. So we have so many industrial partners. We are collaborating various aspects, even in India. Also, we are working on that various institute, IIT Chennai, as well as Allahabad University. Also, I'm working on it. Yeah, thank you. That's all my work. If you have any question, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sudhakar. It was a wonderful talk. So bioplastics is a solution for the big problem we have now. So bioplastic, we know we can't avoid plastic anywhere, but we need to find some solution. So I think you have the right solutions, and you have given a lot of the current research going on in this area. A lot of questions have come. I'll just ask some of these questions. Many are interested in your work. So I'll just post the email address for the benefit of the participants. I'll also take the many questions which are given by the participants. First question is from Gulam Fatima is asking, biodegradable plastic should have low cost for reducing plastic pollution. Could it be affordable by everyone? That's the question.
Yeah, currently the bioplastic is a new area. Currently, the price is a little expensive because of the low production. Because imagine, I told you, the petroleum plastic is 330 million tons they're producing. The bioplastic less than is like current of 1% onto that. So it's still the low production in many countries. So the price is still expensive. The biodegradable plastic is 3 to 4 times expensive and everything. So if the many countries, many legislation is coming when you put in compulsory, so the production is going to be increased. The price also will come down in the future. That is we expected.
So there is another question from Raj Shri Indiran, whether this will become carcinogenic.
No, no, it's not a carcinogenic. So what is actually the raw material we're using is from the renewable materials, the plant sources. So no toxic chemicals is involved. And also when you design the materials, you have to be very, very careful. You have to be, for example, starch. Starch is a not a toxic material. Cellulose is what you are eating, the food and everything is a protein. So all comes to the basic chemicals. But when you are developing the material, you have to be very, very careful what kind of chemicals you are adding, what kind of additives you are adding, what kind of plasticizer that you are making, the chemical bonding to make a bioplastic. So that is you have to be very careful. You should not use any toxic chemicals and everything. So when you design the material, that helps in the finished products is not be carcinogenic. So if you use something toxic chemicals in the material, definitely is going to be a negative impact. So the designing materials is very, very crucial.
So there was one question again, which microbes can degrade plastic? I think they are asking the normal plastic.
Yeah, okay. There are a lot of research going on, particularly how to degrade normal polyethylene and everything. There are also a lot of additives there. Actually, the enzyme they were finding. But what we found that there is a lot of faceless groups and also white rot fungus groups. They have done a lot of research on that. There is, if you have, for example, polyethylene groups that is a carbon backbone polymers. So you need something oxidative degrading enzyme. So what we found that the white rot fungus, like peroxidase kind of enzymes that can break the carbon backbone polymers. So, but the degradation is very, very slow. It's happening. So it's not like as I said, the biopolymers, it can degrade within 6 months, 3 to 6 months. But in the case of polyethylene, even there are a lot of additives and there is not very big degradation. Like it takes even there is only 10% or 5% degradation that is happening more than 3 to 5 years time period. So the degradation process in normal plastic is very slow. But in the case of biopolymers, the degradation process very quick, and any normal microorganism like a group is degrading in any soil environment is degrading. So bacteria and fungi, a lot of I published a lot of research article. So if any students want to know exact the mechanism, what kind of machine, I can share the publication as well.
So there is one related question. Is there any particular microbes for the synthesis of materials like cellulose acetate or cellular acetate? I think
Yeah,
they're
there
asking
actually.
acetate, cellulose acetate.
Yeah, so there are specific microorganism that can synthesis specific polymer like polyhydroxybutyrate, carlan, and cellulose. So, and unfortunately, my research work is not involved on the types, but there are microbes specifically synthesizing some specific biopolymers. There is a they can synthesis. So my work is mostly on the downstream. Utilize the cellulose, the products, what is synthesized to develop a bioplastic on that from that. So no, I don't have much idea on the upstream level. Yeah.
Okay, so there's one question like, can we prepare bioplastics at low cost if we use agricultural byproducts?
Exactly, that is my research innovation. For example, for agriculture wastes like a potato waste that you have a large quantity, or any waste that you feel that that have a huge quantity, then you can extract the value and you can develop like a thermoplastic starch. If it is a starch, if you take starch directly into bioplastic, you can't make. So you have to develop it. So definitely you have to choose the ingredients very low cost and highly abundantly available that you can develop plastic. So it's potentially possible. Low cost is potentially possible to develop it. Yeah.
So there's one question from Dr. Sayantan is asking, is it possible to manufacture paper from bio waste? So if you're making paper, what is the benefit of bioplastic? So he's asking the difference between paper and bioplastic.
Okay, the paper processing and the bioplastic is completely different. So is a one-step process. The paper is just you're taking the cellulose and the hemicellulose range and you paste it into making the paper. But in the case of bioplastic, you can use the ingredients like cellulose and hemicellulose, and you have to add another plasticizer, in a vegetable oil or something that you can make a specific bioplastic. So how you are creating, so you have to make sure that you have a specific mechanical strength, and also you have to make sure that you have the thermal property. So that's the way you have to prepare the formulation. So it's the same ingredients. So you can use the cellulose and hemicellulose, and you have to ask the specific plasticizer into. But in the case of paper, there is no plastic. It's just chemicellulose, and they just using. So you have to follow the another step, that you have to use another ingredients like lactic acid, another everything that you can make a bioplastics. Yeah, you have to add on to that.
There's one research question by Jeeva Darshini. So she's asking, my research work is based on starch-based bioplastic synthesis. I use starch and glycerol as plasticizer. As per literature, yet I get jelly stage. How to get thin film? Kindly suggest.
I think she used the right method. I think when you have a starch you can take it from any source, potato starch, any source you can. So it also depends on the amylose and amylose pectin component, how the ratio you're using, and also when you're adding glycerol, is called as plasticizer, and plasticizer. And also you can add it, and also you can optimize, even you can add use like water as well as a plasticizer. So when you use that, you can when you prepare it, then you can process in a temperature. Particularly you have to place like a 110 to 120 range. So when you using that, when you putting these ingredients into the temperature, it forms a hydrogen bond. So it makes like a rigid kind of like a plastic material. So it forms like, from that you can put into the, even that one you can put it, is called, they use like a extruder. So then it forms. From that you can make any product. It forms like a rigid. Then you can think of packaging or rigid products you can develop from that formulation. So that also very important, how much the ratio of glycerol your water are using. If you're looking for flexible film application, there is going to be a lot of elongation properties and tactile properties. So you have to optimize the glycerol content into this. So I think they can follow my Google citation. I have published a lot of article on that. They can follow. Otherwise, I can help you. They can ask me. I can assist on that.
Yeah, I think so. You can refer to search for Sudhakar's Google Scholar page. From there, you can access his publications. You might get the answer there, or you can contact him through the email address which has been shared.
Thank
So
you.
one other question was, if we want to carry out research on bioplastic, is there any approvals from local municipality or government bodies required? I think they are talking about production of bioplastics, not actually research. So that's the question. Do we need to get approvals from municipality or government bodies?
Yeah. Okay. So, if, for example, definitely, if you have to make sure that if you want to put a plant or something, definitely there is a local. You have to get approval, and you have to say your proposal. You have to say what you're going to do. Any you are taking any chemicals or something, that is the I think you have to. I think the Indian government is very well supporting for the bioplastic. So there is not going to be any but there is going to be approval, but you have to show that you are developing that your value chain. You have to show that utilizing that you are want to create and everything. So the government is definitely, I know that I'm assisting a lot of companies in India. So they don't have any problem in the government approval and everything. The government is really supporting, and many provinces in India also, they banned single-use plastic. They really want to know the eco alternatives. So government will be welcome to accept that. They will be very well supporting. Will be supporting the bioplastic activities.
So there's a question whether coir can be used in bioplastics.
Say again.
Coir, the coconut
Yes.
coir.
Okay. See, the acrylic films is a lignobiomass, the coir. So it is a kind of, you have to see what's the ratio of cellulose and everything. Definitely, it can be utilized. But what I found that from the coir, they're mainly using for the composite application. So what means composite means you take like not only bioplastics, or you can take a even conventional plastic also. like a polyethylene or propylene, you can mix together, it's called composite. So natural fiber as well as the polymer, you can make a composite. So that means, for example, 30% of coir you're blending with a conventional plastic. That means you are reducing the carbon footprint of the plastics. So, but it give a very good properties. It give a same mechanical and everything, and also it can be done. That is also you can be utilized. There is a very big market. More than composite market is very bigger than bioplastic market. So there is also advantage. It can go for not only for the single-use application. It can go for durable application as well. That can be used. Another way, if you want to high value something like you want to extract you from the coir, you can extract the value chemicals, lignin, cellulose, and other chemicals you can extract, and you can develop a bioplastic. But it's a long process. Bioplastic is you have to go for the biorefining process. But my suggestion is the coir can be utilized for the natural fiber composite. So it is widely well-known technology for the composite. So my recommendation is you should go for the biocomposite applications.
So there are two related questions. One of them I'm posting here. How common people differentiate between bioplastics and normal plastics? So that's many questions. Many people have asked this question.
Okay, that's a very serious issue. Currently, you can't differentiate if you're not properly labeled. You can't differentiate is a bioplastic or conventional plastics. So that's the reason the government have put a regulation. For example, in India there's a SIPET. Similarly, each country have a regulation. So if you are claiming that my material is biodegradable and you want to bring it to the consumers and everything, it should be a proper label and certified. There will be numbers. So there should be numbers. So it should be approved by the Central Pollution Board members and as well as SIPET. They have a facility in SIPET. So it might be certified and everything. Based on that, they can give a certificate. There are a lot of tests to make a biodegradable. There is like a biodegradation testing, and also you can also chemical composition. You can do the FTIR. You can see the functional group also. You can differentiate with the biodegradable or bioplastic. But to easy to understand the consumers, there is a proper there's a labeling, like a logo will be there that is approved by the government. So will be the registration number will be there.
Okay. So there was one question from Aman. Previous researchers have shown bacillus bacteria are used in production of PHA and PHB. So are there any other specific bacteria which have better production for PHA and PHB other than bacillus?
Yeah, there are a lot of research is going on. They've done even fungus also. They have tried white rot fungus also. They have tried PHP as well. I don't know. I actually that kind of work I completely stopped more than 10 years now. So that synthesis aspect, I'm concentrating more on downstream side. But you can follow the literature. But there are a lot of mechanisms recently invented. They found that the high production, and also I see that the Allahabad University from India also they're leading this activity, PHP production and PHA production. I think that they are the right people to advise how to isolate that specific microorganism to increase the yield of PHA. Yeah.
So there's one question like how are you avoiding cellulose degrading organisms during the process when taking the raw materials?
Okay. There are when you extract the chemicals, cellulose and everything, there are two ways. You can do the enzymatic way. You can extract the process. You can extract the value cellulose. You can do that, and also is a mechanical chemical method. You can use something acid and a alkaline solution. You can extract the chemical. So from our lab, what we found that the enzyme process is very expensive to extract to degrade cellulose and take the cellulose material and everything. So currently the chemical method is very cheapest that we found that, but it's not environmental. When you use the chemical, There's a, you have to waste the water and everything. But the enzyme is environment friendly, but it's very expensive process. So that is we found that.
So there's one question from Richa Sharma. Is there any control for degradation as there is biodegradable plastic cookery, I mean crockery? She's asking whether the spoons, etc., made up of biodegradable plastic will be like durable, or what is the use specific time can be used?
Exactly. So, for example, as I said, there are plastic also we developed from mulch film. As I said, even some of the starch biopolymers is quickly degradable. They said that we want mulch film to degrade within 12 years. I don't want degraded within 3 months or 6 months, something. They want to degrade it in 12 months because based on the application they want it. So they want to control that degradation. Definitely. So when you do the designing the material, how you are putting the ingredients, how the ratio is changing. When you do that, definitely it can be control the degradation depending on the application. It can be done. How your plasticization you utilizing, how the natural fillers you're utilizing. Specifically, the cellulose is playing a major role. Microcrystalline cellulose, nanocrystalline cellulose, they are playing role in the answer, the control the degradations.
So one last question. So can we use endospore in the plastic manufacture? I don't know whether it's endospore producing bacteria or exactly endospores. I don't know what question it is.
You mean
Maybe
the bacteria, the spore they're utilizing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it can be part of the imagine is you need a large quantity and the enzyme, and you have to see. So you have to see all the factors. For example, the PHA, for example, PHA polymer is a very nice process compared to even very nice process, PHA synthesis and everything. But the yield is very slow. So when you just think of endospore, if you have a low quantity, how you going to address that kind of that huge quantities you wanted, and you have to think always how can be competitively develop it low cost. So when you're developing a new technology, you have to be competitive to the already existing technology, and you have to be cheaper and also innovative, and it has a high. So many aspects you have to design as a when you come into the success of the technology that you are bringing to the society. So if I develop a technology, something is not going to useful to the society means is very challenging. So you have to be very careful when you're designing everything. Also the currently algae research is going on, because you just need a water to grow and everything, that you can produce the algae plastic. That is innovation. Now they are feeling that more than agriculture farmers, the algae is going to be the next generation of material. That is going to be the future of. So you have to think very nicely when you're designing the cost, economic, social aspect to how your research is going to help to the people.
So I think on one more last question. So this is can we use bioplastics in vegetable carriage and transportation to reduce damage or microbial degradation of vegetables? I think he's asking whether we can use it as a packaging material through transport, bioplastics.
Say again, what is the, I couldn't understand.
I think the question is, can we use bioplastics in vegetable carriage and transportation? Can we use bioplastics as a transporting this? Like instead of putting
It's
these
like a packaging
packaging material.
I
During transportation, like we see apples and all covered with some plastic thing, right? So he's asking
Yes.
whether we can use that.
Yes, exactly. We can use it. It definitely helps. That is a bioplastic that is definitely helping the durability, and also for example, some of the biodegradable packaging is maybe it helps it. What is it is the plastic particle or microplastic. It can go to the fruits and it damage. But in the case of bioplastic, it can save the it can stop the toxicity as well. And also what we found that some of the plastic there's called the oxygen permeability and water permeability, particularly in the fruits like your strawberry and your citrus plant, you need to have oxygen permeability, oxygen. So bioplastic is I think is very good for oxygen permeability, and everything is playing. So it definitely is helping the forecast-weighted fruits and items. The packaging is helping a lot.
So one question, interesting question. What is the cost per kg of the bioplastic?
Okay, so currently, let me convert to Indian currency. So the current polyethylene, something like 20 rand per kg or something. So your bioplastic will be 70 rupees. Sorry, 20 to 25 rupees Indian currency. So the bioplastic will be currently now is going to be currently the rate is 70 rupees to 100 rupees. That's the current range is coming.
Okay.
But it is expected. But also there is, I think, the bioplastic production in India. I don't think that there is a very few companies are doing. They're not high level. Most of them imported. That's the reason there are a lot of imported duties and so many aspects there. So if you have a local production, definitely you can competitive price you can bring to the to that. So how you're utilizing the local sources, that is a very important. So currently it's a 3 to 4 times expensive than the normal plastic. But if you are locally developed everything, definitely you can bring down the cost competitive price.
Thank you, Dr. Sudhakar.
Thank you.
There are more questions, but since we are running out of time, we'll finish the questions. I've passed your email address to the participants. They will contact you if more questions are arising. So over to Dr. Manikandan to give the vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Siddharthan. So we reached our final session. So it's a great pleasure to give a vote of thanks for this today's webinar, international webinar. First and foremost, I thank our guest speaker, Dr. Sudhakar, a senior research scientist from South Africa, for his wonderful speech. Thank you, Sudhakar Muniyasamy. And also, I thank yesterday's speaker, Dr. Balamurali Krishnan, for his also presented a wonderful speech on this webinar. On the behalf of Christ University authorities, our respected beloved Father Joby, head of the department, Department of Life Science, I thank all the participants who contributed well, and your questions also very good manner, and then your way of asking the questions. Thank you all the participants. Last but not least, I thank our colleague Dr. Siddharthan and Dr. Anish. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Very nice meeting all. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.